The phone light blinked incessantly. It was the bank. Again. Matthew stared at the screen as if he could ignore the reality for just one more moment. His account was overdrawn, bills piled up on the kitchen table, and the stack of collection letters grew every day. He never imagined it would come to this. With a good job and a decent salary, how could he be drowning in debt? But that's how bankruptcy begins. Not with a big collapse, but with small missteps, each one seeming harmless until it's too late. In the United States, personal bankruptcy is not a rarity. According to the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, more than 380,000 people declared bankruptcy in 2023. This represents thousands of individuals who, like Matthew, were caught by surprise by a financial spiral that seemed impossible to escape. But before it's too late, there are warning signs that can indicate when someone is heading toward economic collapse. The first sign is the lack of an emergency fund. Experts recommend having at least 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses saved for unexpected situations. However, a study by the Federal Reserve revealed that about 37% of Americans couldn't cover an unexpected $400 expense without resorting to loans or selling possessions. Relying on short-term credit for daily expenses creates a dangerous domino effect. When an emergency arises, an unexpected medical bill, a broken car, or a period of unemployment, there is no financial cushion to absorb the impact, and the usual solution is to take out new loans with sky-high interest rates. Another worrying sign is excessive use of credit for basic expenses. When everyday bills are paid with credit cards without a clear repayment plan, compound interest starts to work against the consumer. Debt grows silently, and in no time, the accumulated balance becomes unsustainable. According to the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the average credit card debt per household in the U.S. exceeded $6,000 in 2023. Additionally, credit card interest rates hit a record high average of 24.37% per year, making any revolving balance extremely costly. Matthew's situation worsened when he began delaying payments. A forgotten bill here, a late account there. Quickly, interest on interest turned manageable amounts into exorbitant figures. The impact was not only financial, but emotional. The anxiety of opening the mailbox or answering unknown calls became unbearable. Insomnia became constant, and every social interaction seemed like a subtle reminder of his financial failure. This psychological pressure is not uncommon. The American Psychological Association reported that 72% of Americans say they experience money-related stress at some point during the year. For many, the next step is to resort to drastic solutions: debt consolidation, mortgage refinancing, or in the most extreme cases, bankruptcy. However, bankruptcy is a complex process that can have severe consequences for one's financial life. In the US, a bankruptcy record can remain on a credit report for up to 10 years, making it harder to obtain new loans, mortgages, and even job opportunities in certain industries. But then the crucial question: is it possible to escape this destructive cycle before it's too late? The answer is yes. And for those who identify the signs in time, there are concrete strategies to reverse the situation and regain control of their financial life. The key is understanding the problem, recognizing harmful patterns, and devising a practical plan for financial restructuring. Bankruptcy rarely happens for a single reason. For most Americans who find themselves financially stranded, ruin is the result of a series of factors that accumulate over time. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, has identified 5 major causes that lead people to bankruptcy in the United States. Matthew, like so many others, fit perfectly into some of these. The primary reason is unexpected medical expenses. A study published by the American Journal of Public Health revealed that 66.5% of personal bankruptcies in the U.S. are related to medical costs. Many Americans, even those with health insurance, face unmanageable debts after hospitalization or extended treatment. With health compromised and unable to work, bills pile up quickly. Lisa Andrews' case, a teacher from California, illustrates this reality well. After an emergency surgery, she saw her savings evaporate and had to resort to bank credit that she couldn't pay off, leading her to bankruptcy. Another significant cause is unemployment or drastic reduction in income. A survey from the U.S. Census Bureau showed that 42% of people filing for bankruptcy had lost their jobs in the previous 2 years. For those living without a financial cushion, the impact of unemployment is immediate. Without income and with bills mounting, bankruptcy becomes an inevitable alternative. This is what happened to Jake Patterson, a software engineer who lost his job during the pandemic. In just a few months, his bank balance was drained, his credit cards hit their limit, and he had to sell his car to survive. The third critical factor is excessive debt due to easy credit. In recent years, with the rise of quick credit options, many people accumulated high balances on credit cards, student loans, and personal loans. According to the Federal Reserve, the average debt for an American adult exceeds $90,460, and the number of individuals with at least one overdue credit card rose to 8.2% in 2023. Matthew fit into this group. His debt grew subtly, and before he knew it, more than 50% of his monthly income was being consumed by minimum payments. A less discussed but equally dangerous factor is divorce or marital separation. Studies show that personal bankruptcy is 300% more common among divorced individuals. The division of assets, alimony, and duplicate expenses are factors that directly impact financial health. When one spouse leaves the marriage with most of the debt or without enough income, the risk of bankruptcy increases drastically. Emily Carter, a former housewife, experienced this when her husband unexpectedly filed for divorce. Without an income and 3 children to support, she had to resort to legal options to rebuild her life. Finally, there's the failure of small businesses. Starting a business can be a great opportunity, but it's also a significant risk. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 20% of new businesses close in their first year, and nearly 50% fail within the first 5 years. For many entrepreneurs, personal bankruptcy is the last resort after trying to keep a business afloat. The dream of being your own boss without an adequate financial plan can turn into a nightmare. Matthew was not alone. Thousands of people face similar struggles, and understanding the causes of debt was the first step toward climbing out of the hole. In the next chapter, we will explore real strategies that helped people regain their financial stability and avoid bankruptcy. Matthew sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by piles of bills, a laptop open with a billing dashboard, and a notebook filled with frantic scribbles. He knew that if he didn't do something immediately, he would sink further into the financial abyss. But where to start? The stories of others who had gone through similar situations offered some hope. People who had hit rock bottom and restructured their financial lives with concrete strategies. The first step for anyone looking to get out of debt is to face reality head on. Many avoid looking at their situation, delaying the confrontation with the numbers. But financial experts like Dave Ramsey and Sue Zorman agree that transparency with one's own situation is crucial. A study from the National Foundation for Credit Counseling revealed that about 60% of Americans have no idea how much they actually owe. For Matthew, the first task was to list all of his debts, including amounts, interest rates, and payment deadlines. One of the most effective techniques for getting out of debt is the snowball method, advocated by Dave Ramsey. It involves listing all debts from the smallest to the largest and paying them off in that order, regardless of interest rates. The idea is to create a positive psychological effect by paying off smaller debts quickly, generating motivation to continue. Another strategy is the avalanche method, which prioritizes debts with the highest interest rates, reducing the long-term financial impact. According to a study by Harvard Business School, people who use the snowball method tend to maintain their payment commitment longer, due to the sense of constant progress. Another essential step is negotiating debts with creditors. Many financial institutions are willing to offer discounts or longer payment terms to avoid customers filing for bankruptcy. This was the case for Sarah Mitchell, a business owner who accumulated over $80,000 in debt after closing her business. By reaching out to her creditors and showing interest in settling her debts, she managed to reduce her debt by more than half and restructure it under more manageable conditions. For many, seeking professional help is also a game changer. Financial consultants and nonprofit organizations like the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, NFCC, offer support to create payment plans and debt renegotiation. Statistics show that 85% of people who seek financial counseling manage to get out of debt in less than 5 years without needing to resort to bankruptcy. But one of the biggest challenges for those trying to get out of debt is avoiding the same mistakes. It's not enough to pay off debts. One must financially re-educate themselves to prevent the vicious cycle from repeating. In the next chapter, we will explore the importance of financial education and how small habits can transform long-term economic security. Financial recovery does not happen by chance. It requires knowledge, planning, and discipline. Matthew, like so many others who had fallen into the debt trap, realized that the key to avoiding future financial collapses was financial education. Without understanding how money works, even those who manage to pay off their debts run the risk of making the same mistakes again. The lack of financial education is a chronic problem in the United States. According to the National Financial Educators Council, NFEC, About 67% of Americans admit they have never received formal education about personal finance. This directly reflects in troubling statistics. A survey by the FINRA Investor Education Foundation revealed that only 34% of Americans can correctly answer basic questions about interest rates, inflation, and investment diversification. One of the first steps toward achieving financial stability is understanding the concept of smart budgeting. Many experts recommend the 50 divided by 30 divided by 20 rule, proposed by Senator Elizabeth Warren. In this approach, 50% of income should be allocated to basic needs, housing, food, health, 30% to wants and lifestyle, and 20% to savings and debt repayment. Applying this method helps maintain balanced control over finances, reducing the risk of spending more than one earns. Another crucial element is building an emergency fund. The Federal Reserve points out that 37% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover an unexpected $400 expense. This is one of the factors that leads so many people into chronic debt. Creating a financial reserve equal to 3 to 6 months of fixed expenses is essential to avoid future crises. Experts recommend starting with small goals, saving 10% of monthly income until the reserve reaches a safe amount. Financial education also involves understanding how credit and investments work. Many people fall into the trap of credit cards and loans because they don't understand how compound interest works. According to a study by the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, 58% of American consumers carry credit card balances every month, paying interest rates that can exceed 24% annually. Learning to differentiate good debt, such as low-interest loans for education or housing, from bad debt, such as credit cards and short-term loans, is a crucial step in avoiding financial traps. Matthew knew he needed to invest in his knowledge. He began reading books on personal finance, such as The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He also started following experts like Suze Orman and Dave Ramsey, who provide practical tips on how to manage money wisely. In the next chapter, we will discuss how to diversify income sources and invest intelligently to build a solid financial foundation and avoid future economic problems. To ensure long-lasting financial stability, it's not enough to simply get out of debt and learn to manage money better. It's essential to diversify income sources and invest intelligently to guarantee a secure future. Matthew realized that solely relying on his monthly salary wasn't enough. He needed to find new ways to earn money and make his capital work for him. In the United States, the search for alternative income sources has been growing exponentially. According to a study by the Pew Research Center, 36% of Americans have some type of side job to supplement their primary income. From driving for rideshare apps to creating online businesses, there are many accessible options for those looking to increase their income. One of the most common ways to generate extra income is freelancing. Platforms such as Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer.com offer opportunities for people with skills in design, writing, programming, and many other areas. Professionals who invest in freelance work can, over time, turn a side hustle into a stable and meaningful source of income. Another effective strategy is investing in the financial markets. Many people avoid investing due to fear or lack of knowledge, but the reality is that, with the right information, anyone can build a profitable investment portfolio. Experts recommend that beginners start with index funds, ETFs, which are lower risk and allow for diversification. For example, the historical average return of the S&P 500 is approximately 10% per year, making it an excellent option for long-term investments. The real estate sector is also a popular alternative for building wealth. According to the National Association of Realtors, the average value of homes in the U.S. has increased by about 30% in the past decade. Investing in rental properties can generate a consistent cash flow, especially in cities with high housing demand. Matthew began studying real estate investment trusts, REITs, a way to invest in the real estate sector without having to physically buy a property. Finally, a key strategy for financial stability is creating multiple passive income streams. This can include royalties from books or online courses, stock dividends, rental income, or even investments in cryptocurrencies. Studies show that people with at least 3 income sources are significantly less likely to face serious financial difficulties. In the next and final chapter, we will explore how to consolidate this financial security, ensuring a stable and peaceful future. After months of studying, adjusting his financial habits, and diversifying his income sources, Matthew felt something that had long eluded him: peace of mind. For the first time, he wasn't just surviving from paycheck to paycheck. He had financial reserves, an investment plan, and a long-term strategy to ensure his economic stability. But the real challenge wasn't just getting out of debt or making more money. It was staying financially secure forever. One of the pillars of financial security is consistency. According to the National Endowment for Financial Education, 78% of people who receive large sums of money, such as inheritances or lottery winnings, end up losing it all within a few years due to a lack of planning. This proves that it's not just how much you earn, but how you manage it. To avoid setbacks, Matthew established a few non-negotiable rules for his financial life. The first rule was to maintain a clear and flexible budget. Many people are successful in getting out of debt but end up spending more than they can afford again. Matthew strictly followed the 50 divided by 30 divided by 20 rule, always adjusting it as his needs changed. Every month, he reviewed his spending and identified opportunities to save more or invest better. The second rule was to never rely on a single source of income. After years of only depending on his salary, Matthew realized that security came from diversification. He continued investing in stocks, real estate funds, and side projects that generated passive income. Studies indicate that people with 3 or more income sources are 70% more likely to maintain long-term financial stability. Another essential decision was to protect himself against financial emergencies. Many people fall back into debt because they don't have a strong emergency fund. To prevent this, Matthew kept a reserve equivalent to 6 months of his fixed expenses, ensuring that any unexpected event wouldn't disrupt his financial plan. Finally, Matthew understood the importance of planning for the future. He started investing for retirement, using accounts like 401k and Roth IRA, taking advantage of the tax benefits these plans offer. According to the Social Security Administration, more than 40% of Americans rely solely on Social Security in retirement, which is not enough to maintain a comfortable standard of living. Matthew wanted to avoid this fate and ensure a prosperous future. Reflecting on his journey, Matthew realized that financial stability wasn't about getting rich quickly, but about building a solid foundation, step by step. With planning, financial education, and discipline, anyone can get out of debt and build a secure future. Now it was his turn. The path to financial stability was within his reach. It all starts with the decision to change.